Welcome to Cloud Interview Questions, an initiative from Cloudworthy. So today we are going to discuss about one of the most important and most expected questions in an interview. That is, why should we actually move to cloud computing? Or what is the big fuss around cloud computing? What is the big hype? Why every organization is actually looking to move into cloud computing? Why do they say that 90% of enterprises at the end of 2021 will start use cloud computing, right? To know why organizations are moving to cloud computing, why this paradigm shift is happening, we need to take a step back and analyze what are the existing limitations with the traditional on-premise model. What are all the problems that we face in a traditional on-premise model? Right? So that is why this question is very important. So when someone is asking about what are all the disadvantages, some of the limitations of a traditional on-premise model include like we need to do some planning in advance for a peak load, which means you can take any website, right? Like you can take any e-commerce website like Myntra or Flipkart, right? If they are using a traditional on-premise model, so they won't have a steady demand, right? So they will have something called cyclic demand, which means during season time they will have a good peak load. Actually, more number of users will be visiting the website compared to your normal ordinary days. So they will be having something called cyclic loads, right? So to accommodate those cyclic nodes, right, we need to plan in advance in terms of traditional on-premise model. Right? We need to plan in advance. We need at least like 6 to 8 days time to actually plan for this additional peak load, which may be a planned peak load to accommodate so that the servers are not going down, right? So that every user is able to access the website and like make their business transaction. That is the first problem. We have to plan at least like 1 week before to manage this peak loads. The second one is by any chance, if it is an unplanned traffic, right? Suddenly a celebrity is actually endorsing your product unknowingly, right? Or by any chance you got viral, you are becoming trending now. At that time, you will receive a lot of unplanned traffic, right? Those are called ad hoc traffic, right? By any chance, if you have a traditional on-premise model, right, you have like n servers to handle your request. If you suddenly receive some unplanned traffic, then obviously your servers will go down. Your services will be done, which means the business is not happening, right? That user may actually move to some other business to some other site to actually procure their product. So, which is a loss to our business, right? So, first point is we have to plan in advance for the peak load, and second is we cannot handle the ad hoc traffic in the traditional on-premise model. To resolve this issue, right, before cloud computing, to resolve this, what big organizations or enterprises used to do is they will procure additional servers. Right? For my organization, the average load is like requires 2 servers, and if the peak load actually requires 4 servers, instead of like planning for the additional 2 servers each time, I'll procure all the 4 servers and I'll be just running with 2 servers, right? So that is called server underutilization or resource underutilization. So you are buying the resources, but you are just keeping it idle, right? So that is a server underutilization. The problem is even for those servers, we need to have separate like voltage, power needs to be given. You need to cool those systems, but they will remain idle, which is a huge again blow to the environment as well, right? So you have a separate AC, you have a heat suppression system, you have a power, but you're not going to use it, right? So that is another biggest limitation with on-premise models. But the one which the organizations actually focus is that even though you procure a server and you if you're just keeping it idle, you still have to pay for it, right? The billing will happen irrespective of your usage, whether you use it or not, whether the server is running or kept idle. If you procure a server, you will be charged for that, right? So it is also adding a financial constraint or a additional budget or a unused or a less efficient budget actually to the billing. The last one is if you want to probably add additional servers or if you want to do anything with the servers, it is not like you as a developer or a manager will not be able to go and make some modifications there, right? So you need to bring, say, a technical personnel. Either you should have some in-house technical personnel, or in many cases it will be like assigned to a third party. So you have to bring those external contractors to your premise, and you have to make the required modifications. So you always require some technical personnel, right? So these are some of the disadvantages of our traditional on-premise model. So we need to plan in advance to accommodate peak load. Ad hoc traffic cannot be handled, and the servers, in terms of bigger enterprises, they will go unutilized because some of the servers may be idle for all the time except for the peak load or ad hoc traffic. And even though if it is kept idle, they still have to pay for it. So billing will happen irrespective of the usage. And last is we need some technical personnel to do. So these are some of the limitations with the on-premise model. Tomorrow we will see how cloud computing is resolving all these problems and helping the organizations. Thank you and see you tomorrow.